everybody to CTE Live. This is our May 18th, 2 p.m. production, and we are welcoming our guest, Carl Cruz with Celebrity Cruise Lines. Hey, Carl.
Hey, how are you, Michael?
I'm good, man. I mean, things are looking up for cruising and travel, aren't they?
It's never been better. I got to tell you, through all the time, I'm telling everybody to keep looking in the windshield and not in the rearview mirror, but really now we're looking in the windshield. So it's exciting times.
You and I were just talking, but I mean, you know, there's been questions with the CDC, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But these sailings like you have out of St. Martin and out of Athens, that's a go, right? You're going.
Oh, absolutely. The CDC doesn't govern any of those ports at all. So these sailings are going to work. Everything we're going to talk about today is absolutely 100% going to go, whether we sell out the full capacity that we're available to sell or not. So if you're booked on any of these sailings, rest assured we're going. So we hope you're coming with us.
Well, if you don't know, I'm Michael Graham. I'm your host here on CTE Live. We're a branch of the Cruise and Travel Expo that Celebrity Cruises has always been our gold sponsor and big partner. And so we love partnering with them. They're a great travel partner. They deliver a great product. A little bit of housekeeping today. Well, Carl, you're not in the house. You're in an iconic suite back there. Looks pretty nice. But housekeeping is, if anybody has a question, please type it in the chat box. We're not going to answer them right away. We're going to gather them together, and I'm going to put a welcome everyone so you know where it is. And then you just type in, and I'll fix that in a second. So we want you to put your questions in the chat box for us, and Carl and I will alternate between answering them best we can. We'll answer what we know, and we're going to talk about some things we know what today is, and nobody knows what tomorrow is, or certainly not 3, 4, 5 months from now. So we're just assuming they're getting better, but we'll also assume that they're the same as today for the purposes of our talk today. And Carl is going to introduce us to an overall product about some things that Celebrity is doing. And then towards the end, I'm going to tell you about one specific sailing on the Apex, which is their brand new ship, leaving from Athens in September. We're going to add a little bit to that, a cruise tour on the beginning of that. I'll go over all those details in a few minutes. Carl, if you want to start sharing your screen.
Absolutely. And I'm going to shut my camera off just while I share the screen. And then when we're done doing questions, I'll turn it back on just so I don't have any trouble flipping the slides. So we're going to go here.
And of course, if you have any questions that you're not able to get in the chat box in time, or you're watching this on YouTube or elsewhere, just send them to michael@mgatravel.com, or you can call 843-279-0310. And Carl, we see your screen up there real clear. We're good to go on this end.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We really appreciate you taking time out of your afternoon to come listen about what Celebrity has coming up. And I was telling Michael before we started and let everybody in the chat room that it's really exciting to be talking about cruises actually going and not us having to suspend them, and talking about FCCs and refunds. So we're really excited that our someday is here. It's been a long 14 months. And I've done a lot of these where I thought it was going to be next week and I thought it was going to be next week, but now we really know the actual date, and we're super excited to share it with the world, because Celebrity Apex, the second ship of the Edge class, was actually supposed to come out last March of 2020 out of Europe. And it's so sad because not one guest has slept on the Celebrity Apex as of yet. Those beds are freshly made, waiting on guests to come and enjoy the full ship. So we're going to put her going out of Athens, Greece, starting June 19th of this year. You're seeing that right, June 19th of this year. And she's going to do a summer inaugural season in Greece this summer, and then she'll come back over to the Caribbean this fall so we can do some Caribbean sailings on her. But we're really excited to get a chance to introduce Apex. She was the second ship of the Edge class, and when we designed Celebrity Edge, those of you that might have sailed on her in the past already, we went outside and got 4 designers that have never really designed cruise ships before. They've done high-end hotels and luxury condos and other sort of vessels, but never a passenger cruise ship. And the reason why we did that was, really, in the cruise industry, there was 3 major designers of cruise ships. And when they designed our cruise ships, they would also design our competition's cruise ships. So we really went outside the box, and you'll see when I show you some of the highlights of Celebrity Apex what I'm talking about. But they really brought a new edge, so to speak, to luxury cruising. And on Celebrity Apex, we have a unique itinerary and a unique ship. It's 1,004 feet long. It has 14 passenger decks. It holds 2,918 guests, double occupancy. It has 1,320 crew, and it's not selling in December 18. Sorry about that, that's a mistake. But what's unique about this is, even though it does have, or is able to have 2,918 guests, for these Greece sailings, we're only going to sell out about 50% occupancy. So once we hit that 50% occupancy, if we hit that 50% occupancy, we're going to cut it off just to make sure everything goes smoothly. Even though there's no CDC guidelines of what we can sell out of Athens, Greece, we are using the local governments and their guidelines, as well as we want everybody to have a good experience. So you'll notice when you do see pricing on this, we are only offering veranda and above on these itineraries. And it's a brand new ship, and she has some aspects that we've never had at Celebrity Cruises before, or really in the cruise industry. She has a couple staterooms that's very unique. One of them is the iconic suite. You actually saw me, that's my background, I was sitting in it. There's two of them on board, and they are bigger than my home. They're 2,600 square feet. The stateroom's about 1,950 square feet. It has 2 bathrooms. It sleeps 6 guests. There's 2 of them on board, and they're built out over the bridge. So the only person that would have a better view than you would be the actual captain. And when I was on board Celebrity Edge, I got to show this stateroom. And this is actually a picture of the stateroom from Celebrity Apex. It's beautiful stateroom. And then you see there in the smaller picture, that's actually the veranda with a private hot tub, private lounge area, enough seating for you and all your friends. It has a covered hot tub. So a really unique stateroom on board the Edge class ships. And then for the first time ever, we have 6 Edge villas, and we do call them Edge villas, even though this is Celebrity Apex, and they're named after the Edge class. So there's 6 of them on board. It's the first time Celebrity's ever had a 2-story stateroom. So you enter through the door and you see stairs, and at the bottom of those stairs, you have a private 3-foot plunge pool. It's very unique, and it's really right off of the entrance to the retreat area. So really, when you step out of your stateroom, you could really go right into the private retreat area just for suite guests. And you could really just enjoy this part of the ship if you wanted to, but there's a lot more to see. And this is actually what the stateroom looks like. So it sleeps 4, it's a 2-story suite. It has the plunge pool, 2 bathrooms, 1 bedroom, and it does have a pull-out couch that'll sleep 2 guests. And like I said, there are 6 of them on board. I'm gonna show you a quick video about our Edge Infinity Veranda Suite. And you'll take
We've replaced all of this structure with essentially nothing.
This engineering feat allowed for the creation of the new Edge staterooms with infinite veranda that are 23% larger than Celebrity's current veranda staterooms.
What I wanted to achieve here was to try and create lots of different experiences. I think in the Edge stateroom, when you walk in, you're going to know there's a difference. And for me, it was about coming up with a sort of light bulb moment of creating the studio so that you could have these kind of glass partition doors that opened where you could actually then have your terrace as part of your living space. I think we created something unique in the cruise industry.
So what's unique about these infinite veranda staterooms is we also have 16 of them on board Celebrity Edge and Apex that are built for single travelers. So if you do travel as a single, we have this infinite veranda built for a single traveler. It's about 50 square feet smaller than the regular infinite veranda stateroom, and it has a queen size bed rather than a king size bed. But as you see, when you walk through the door, you see right back to the end of the stateroom, and it's floor to ceiling glass windows with that parishioner doors that you can close and actually close off the veranda, and then you just push the button on the wall, just like sort of like what you do in your car, and the window comes down and you have your open air veranda. Now we still do have traditional verandas on board Celebrity Edge and Apex. So if you love the traditional veranda, we have those available. But these infinite verandas have been very popular since we released Celebrity Edge in 2019, and we know that everybody's going to love them on Celebrity Apex. I love showing that video when I was in the crowd because I see everybody's face kind of light up because they've never really seen anything like the magic carpet on a cruise ship. And when we designed the Edge class ships, we wanted to enhance the tender experience because, let's be honest, nobody's ever came back and told Michael or one of his agents how much they enjoyed the tender experience on their cruise. So we wanted to build a platform where we could get our Edge launches, which are the little boats that you saw pull up to the magic carpet, and make it just seamlessly. So we didn't have to wait in lines. There wasn't, any stairs you had to go down. You just step right off into the Edge launch. It's theater style seating and it's air conditioned. But for the magic carpet on the side of the ship, for us to be able to sail, we had to be able to lift it up. So in the planning meeting for the Edge class ships, the architect was telling our president, Lisa Lutoff-Perlo, that to sail with it, we're gonna have to lift it up a little bit just to balance the ship. And she said, well, if you can lift it up a little bit, how high can you lift it? And we think the architect might've been trying to be funny. Well, he said, ma'am, I can take it to the top. She said, well, that's what we're gonna do. And then we're gonna have dinner up there. So it stops on 4 different decks. Deck 2 in the video there to enhance the tender experience. Then it stops on deck 5 and it extends one of our restaurants we call Raw, which is like our seafood restaurant on board. And then during the peak hours of the day, it goes up off the pool deck and it just has different drinks and entertainment on it. And then 2 nights on each 7-night sailing, and then 3 nights on 7-night sailings and longer, it goes all the way to the top. And we call it Dinner on the Edge, a specialty dining restaurant that'll seat 90 guests. Now, this is the only restaurant you cannot pre-book because it is weather permitting. If the winds are high, we obviously aren't going to have guests up there and have cocktail napkins flying into the sea. But it is a unique experience on board the Edge class ships. It's a tennis court wide and 2 tennis courts long, and it's very, very unique aspect of modern luxury cruising. Eden is something new that we introduced with Edge class, and we tweaked it a little bit for Celebrity Apex. So depending on the time of day, the mood will change. It actually covers 3 decks at the very back of the ship. So deck 4, 5, and 6. And it's chillful in the morning, it's playful in the afternoon, and it's wonderful in the evening. And at night, it has basically like a dinner show that goes on. And what I really love about it is Eden Bar there, every drink that you get that has a garnish in it, they're actually brewed right there in Eden. So it's a very unique experience and a great place to maybe have a meal and enjoy a beverage. And then Le Grand Bistro, we had the exclusive rights to Le Grand Bistro at sea. And on Celebrity Edge, we had La Petite Chef, the original version. We put 3.0 on board Celebrity Apex. Now, I know by the picture, you might think it's just for family and for kids, but I think Michael's actually even dined there and he can tell you, I had a room full of travel agents on the inaugural of Celebrity Apex or Celebrity Edge, and they were just blown away by it. Everybody had their camera phones out viewing it. And I'll show you a little bit when we go over to the Celebrity Millennium, what it actually looks like. But it is a wonderful, unique restaurant. It's sort of like a virtual dinner show, and it's fun for guests of all ages. And then the retreat. So if you are a suite guest and you do enjoy the suites on board, with Celebrity, we took it to another level with the retreat that gives you an exclusive sun deck. You have an exclusive restaurant called Lumine, and then a concierge lounge that we used to call Michael's Club, but now it is the Retreat Lounge. And when you do book the retreat experience, you do get our Indulge package, which comes with everything. And these are what the suites look like on board Celebrity Apex, from the Sky Suite all the way up to the Penthouse Suite. And then, of course, I showed you a little bit about the Edge Villas and the Iconic Suite a few slides previous. And then if you do enjoy craft beer or different types of wines and cocktails, we changed it up on Celebrity Apex, where the casino bar was on Celebrity Edge is now what we call the new craft social bar. So it's a great area to watch a sporting event and have a unique beverage or craft beer. And it's right off the casino bar, and it's really unique on Celebrity Apex. And then we came out with Edge Class. If you are a traditional Celebrity guest, you're used to having that one main dining room. With Edge Class, we came up with a new concept where we had 4 different main dining rooms. They are called the same. They're Cosmopolitan, Cyprus, Tuscan, and Normandy. All the menus are designed by Michelin star chefs, and each restaurant, 75% of the menu is the exact same, and then 25% of the menu will be unique to that restaurant. So what happens when you book, we do assign you to a restaurant, but then throughout the cruise, if you see something you want to try or you just want to try another restaurant, you just see the maitre d' and we can accommodate you, because we do have guests doing that throughout the sailing. And now that we're only going to be sailing at 50% occupancy, there's going to be no issues at all with this. So where is she going? Celebrity Apex, she's going to start June 19th through September 25th, going out of Athens, doing a number of 6, 7, and 8 night cruises. They will all be round trip Athens. We'll all leave at about 8:30 p.m. in the evening. We will have a Greek Isles in Israel and a Greek Islands in Cyprus. Now, I know a lot of us has heard what's going on in Israel right now. We are going to tweak the itineraries for the June and July dates. And we hope that by the time Michael's group goes out in September, things will be better and we'll be able to visit Israel. If not, we will tweak that itinerary and change that stop. And we should have that finalized by the end of the week. If you do follow the Royal Caribbean brand, you know they pulled their ship out of there. And the reason why they did that was Israel was their home port. So they really didn't want to wait around for things to get better to see what was going to happen. So that's the reason why they pulled the ship and that whole product. We are going to continue to travel these itineraries, but we are going to tweak the Israel stop on the first probably 6 or 8 weeks of the Apex product line for these sailings. And then hopefully things will get better. If not, then we'll continue on visiting the other ports of call that we'll replace them with. And we should have those itinerary changes finalized by the end of the week. And then these are some of the 7 and the 1 6 night sailing, but it's basically all the Greek islands and Cyprus or the Greek islands with Israel for the later part of the season. We do have airfare contracted rates from major gateways. So out of Myrtle Beach area or Charleston area, wherever you might be from, there would be a small add-on, but we do have competitive rates that we contracted with the airlines prior to announcing this product. So if you are interested, please see Michael or one of his agents. He does have his group going out in September. He'll tell you a little bit about at the end of the presentation. But if you are interested in one of the other dates, we do have competitive airfare out there. So please check with one of the agents and we can look to see what best fits your needs. And then this is a little bit about his group that's going to go out on September 9th. It's 9 nights and it's 10 days because it's cruise and land. And I'll let him tell you a little bit about that at the very end of the presentation. The second ship that we're going to return to service is the Celebrity Millennium. And everybody asked me, you know, Carl, why didn't you bring Celebrity Edge back next? Well, we really feel confident, even more confident than ever, and we should make an announcement here in a couple of days about our return to service in the US. And Edge is going to be that first ship that we return to service out of US ports. We chose Celebrity Millennium because she was just revolutionized in 2019 before her Alaska season. And I'll tell you a little bit about what revolutionized means. What we did was when we released the Edge class, we didn't want people going on Celebrity Edge and then going on our other ships and feel like it's a totally different product. So we came out with a Celebrity Revolution, where it's going to strategy where we're going to bring all the remaining 9 ships of the fleet in and revolutionize them and bring the best aspects of Celebrity Edge class to the remainder of the fleet. We did that with Celebrity Millennium in early 2019, and she holds about 2,000 guests. So on these sailings, we're going to operate her about 40 to 50% occupancy. But she looks and feels just like Celebrity Edge. The only thing we really couldn't add to the Millennium class and the Solstice class was the magic carpet and the infinite verandas, because that actually messes with the structure of the ship. And I know you've probably heard cruise presentations before where cruise reps have said, you know, we're remodeling the ship or renovating the ship. And what they're really doing is pulling up the carpet and putting some fresh paint down. We literally tore these ships down to the iron, so they look and feel just like Celebrity Edge. So she's going to start June the 5th. So actually a couple weeks. Her first sailing is going to be round trip St. Martin. And I'll show you a couple of the itineraries at the very end. But let me show you the ship first, because she really is beautiful and looks and feels just like the Celebrity Edge class. She'll start June the 5th, go through August 21st. A number of 7-night itineraries that'll include the British Virgin Islands, St. Lucia, Barbados, and then an itinerary that includes the ABC Islands. And that's what she looks like now. She's really beautiful, looks and feels just like Celebrity Edge. We renovated all the suites and all the regular veranda staterooms. So on the left side, you'll see what the penthouse suite looks like now. On the right side, you're going to see what the basic veranda stateroom looks like. But it was done by Kelly Hoppen that designed Celebrity Edge's stateroom, so they all look and feel the same way, all the way down to the color of the carpets. And then all the public venues. So the whole ship was renovated. We really did great things on the Solstice class and the Millennium class. We do still have the 1 main dining room. So we didn't go back to the 4 dining rooms like Celebrity Edge class has. They does still have the 1 main dining room, but the casino was redone. We added the retreat. The spa's been updated. The shops have been updated. So it really looks and feels just like Celebrity Edge. So that is what La Petite Chef looks like. So if you traveled with us before and you remember we had a restaurant called Cuisine, well, we turned Cuisine into now La Petite Chef. I guess we'll call it 1.0, the original version. So as you can see, the gentleman there is filming it with his phone. So when you walk into the restaurant, you put your order in with the waiter. He goes and puts it into the kitchen. And then about the time it's ready to be served to you, this little guy pops up out of nowhere and makes it for you in animation. And this is him making a dessert here. You don't even notice that the projector's above you, but it really is a great, great way to have a meal and some entertainment along the way. And like I said, everybody has their camera phones out and they're filming it because it really is a unique experience. They do have one of these restaurants in New York, but we have the exclusive rights to it at sea. So it's a great night out. And then of course we redid the dining room, the Ocean View Cafe. I get a lot of questions about the buffets on board. We still will have the buffets on board, but they will not be self-serving. So it'll be sort of like, always related to when my grandparents took me, and even my parents took me to Piccadilly when I was younger, like the cafeteria buffet, where you go through the line and you just point at what you want, and then we'll serve you. But they will still be open, the Ocean View Cafe, because we know our guests love it. It just will no longer be self-serving. The casino will be open. Rendezvous Lounge, where we have a lot of the art auctions, and there's some great entertainment, karaoke, the piano player there a couple of nights a week. So everything's going to be open on board. The spa is going to be open. The gym's going to be open because we're all going to be vaccinated. So everything, it'll be like a normal cruise with less people. The theater will be open. We'll have social distancing in between the seats. We will not have to wear masks when we're sitting down in the theater or when we're having a meal or we're out by the pool. So it'll just be like a normal cruise. We'll just have less people on board. And then of course the Sunset Bar and the Rooftop Terrace, where we'll have different sporting events going on if there's any sporting events going on. We also do an activity called a Taste of Film. And when I was on board, we did it with the movie Chef. And I don't know if any of you've seen the movie Chef, but it's a really entertaining movie. And we have about 20 or 30 different movies we do it with. But in the movie Chef, the first scene of the movie, or one of the main first scenes of the movie, is the chef of the restaurant that he's working at is trying to impress this food critic. And the food critic comes in and he cooks steak and chocolate lava cake, you know, just a main meal they would serve to a food critic. So when the food critic's trying his steak, the waiters are bringing us steak in the crowd. When he's having chocolate lava cake as dessert, they're bringing us chocolate lava cake in the crowd. So throughout the movie, we have about 10 to 12 different beverages or hors d'oeuvres that's served to us to kind of bring the movie to life. So it's a really unique way to have a memorable experience at sea. And then of course, like I said, the spa, the shops, everything will be open, and it's been totally redone just to look and feel just like Celebrity Edge. And then the retreat has been added to the Millennium class and Solstice class. So on Millennium, you will still have Luminé as your exclusive restaurant. We'll have the retreat lounge there, and then we'll have the retreat sun deck as well for our suite guests. So she's going to go out June 5th through August 21st. We'll have two different main itineraries, one that'll include the ABC Islands with a couple of days at sea. That'll do round trip St. Martin, and it departs at 10 p.m. And then we'll have one that'll do St. Lucia and Barbados. We get a lot of questions about, can you go in early and can you stay later? Absolutely, you can go in early, you can stay later, however you want to do it. We just do require the negative PCR test before you come in 5 days prior to St. Martin, 3 days prior to Greece. And then you have to pass the antigen test prior to boarding. And then we give you the antigen test the day or 2 days before you get off the ship so you can fly back to the United States. So that is a requirement. So if you are going to stay longer, just keep in mind that you may have to get that negative test to fly back home because the US requires it 3 days before you return. So if you're going to stay, say, 3 or 4 days afterwards, we'll give you the test anyways when you get off the ship, but you will have to make your own arrangements to get that test to come home if you are going to do any pre or post. And again, same with St. Martin, we did secure some great airfare rates out of the major gateways. If you are flying from a smaller gateway, we will have to have a small add-on there. But out of Atlanta, Charlotte, we have some great airfare rates on these Millennium sailings going out of St. Martin. And don't forget, we did just announce Celebrity Flora out of Galapagos. So if that's ever been on your list, Celebrity Flora is going to start back in service on July the 4th. So we're very excited about Flora coming back. It's all-inclusive products with Celebrity. So when you get there, there's really nothing else you can purchase. Everything's included. This ship has 50 staterooms, 100 guests. We're only going to sell it at about 40% occupancy. But if you are interested in going to Galapagos, it's always been on your list. We have some amazing rates to the Galapagos, and we're doing free air right now. So if you are interested, please sit down with Michael and one of his agents and check out the dates we have available. But this July 4th, we will start sailing back in the Galapagos on Celebrity Flora. And usually I don't get to talk about two new ships in the same year, but this has been a really unique situation. So no one's really got to sail on Celebrity Apex. She was the second ship of the Edge class. And we're very excited to announce that Celebrity Beyond, their third ship of the Edge class, will be coming out in April of 2022. So we're just about a year away, a little less than a year away from introducing Celebrity Beyond to the world. And we're very excited. She's going to be the third ship of the Edge class, and she's going to just be a little bit different than Edge and Apex. Because we took everybody to the Edge, and now we've reached the Apex, and now we're going to go beyond. So she's going to be a little different. She's going to be 20 meters longer, and we added one additional deck. She'll be a sleeker profile. She's going to have more suites and staterooms. So 179 different or more staterooms than what Celebrity Apex and Celebrity Edge had. And for the first time ever, if you ever traveled in Aqua Class before, you know, Aqua Class, you get unlimited access to the Persian Garden relaxation room and the spa, as well as you have your own private restaurant, Blue. For the first time ever on Celebrity Beyond, we're going to have Aqua Class staterooms and Aqua Class suites. So that, look out for that. That's going to be a great aspect of Celebrity Beyond. She's going to have more open spaces. We added nearly 40% to the sun deck, 17 decks, so one more than Edge and Apex. She's 128 foot wide, and we didn't go super big like our sister brand. So we're still around the 3,000 guests on this one, 3,260 guests. So she has about 350 more guests than what Celebrity Apex will hold, but we didn't go any larger than that. So even though the ship got a little bigger, we still kept the guest size about the same in aspect to Edge and Apex. And where's she going? She's going to start sailing in the spring of 2022. Her first voyage, her maiden voyage, will be April 27th out of Southampton. Then we're going to bring her over to the States on October of 2022 out of Cape Liberty just for one sailing and the naming ceremony, and then she'll do her Caribbean season from there. So she'll start out in Europe, departing out of Southampton, Rome, and Barcelona, doing a number of 9 and 10 night itineraries, and then she'll head down in the fall to the Caribbean out of Fort Lauderdale, doing some Eastern Western Caribbean itineraries. And there's some really unique itineraries here. So if you are interested in maybe traveling to Europe next summer on Celebrity Beyond, we have some great itineraries: 9-night Italy and France, the 10-night Greek Isles and Malta, and then a number of other Greek Isle itineraries on Celebrity Beyond. And then when she does come over to the Caribbean, she'll do a couple holiday sailings, 5-night Western Caribbean, and she'll have some 7-night Bahamas, Mexico, and Grand Caymans. And then we'll have those 2 8-night holiday sailings out of Fort Lauderdale. So 2 new ships really coming with Celebrity. Apex will start this June out of Athens, and Michael has the group he's going to tell you about going in September. Celebrity Beyond will start next spring out of Europe, and then she'll come over to the Caribbean and do her season. And then we have Celebrity Flora that's going to start up on July 4th back in the Galapagos of this year. So we're excited to be back in service from those destinations, and we will be making an announcement later in this week about our return out of the U.S. ports, because we're really excited to finally got positive news from the CDC where we can return to service out of U.S. ports. So when you sit down with one of the agents and they start talking about pricing, every sailing pricing that you see out there with Celebrity always comes with these 3 what we call perks as part of the always included pricing. So it'll come with the classic drink package, the Wi-Fi, the tips, and then Elevate will come with the Wi-Fi, the tips, and an onboard credit. And then Indulge will come with the Wi-Fi, the tips, and a shore excursion credit. A lot of people ask me what happens if we do happen to test positive for COVID or something happens along the way. With our Cruise with Confidence, booking any cruise by May 31st, you will obviously be able to cancel for any reason up to 48 hours before you sail. You also have 100% future cruise credit if you do cancel inside of those 48 hours. And you also, if the price does happen to decrease, you will get the best offer guarantee. So say you booked on this cruise and the price goes down, we will let you get that new price, and the difference in the price will be added to your sailing as of OBC. With that will come our COVID-19 coverage. And more than likely, we're going to extend this past the May 31st, but currently this does run through May 31st. And with our COVID-19 coverage, it does cover cancellation and cruise interruption due to COVID-19. Say you get to the pier and somebody in your party does test positive and we test them again and it is actual positive, we will give you 100% refund, as well as take care of the land-based quarantine costs and your travel expenses home. This all comes included just by booking a Celebrity cruise. You do not have to book our travel protection, because I know Michael might have some other vendors that might be a better fit for you and your needs. We do sell travel protection, but every time you book a Celebrity cruise, you will get the COVID-19 coverage and the Cruise with Confidence coverage built into the pricing already, so it doesn't cost anything extra. So we want you to feel confident when you do book a Celebrity cruise. So the COVID-19 coverage and Cruise with Confidence comes with the pricing that you're quoted. If you do want our travel protection, we do have it available. Great. If you want to book an independent third party, you absolutely may. But the COVID-19 coverage will come with the price of the Celebrity cruise, as well as the Cruise with Confidence. So for Millennium and Apex, what do we need? And this is what we need today. Things are changing every day for the better. So by the time you travel, we might not require the PCR test before you get to these countries. But as of today, for the sailings out of St. Martin, you have to have a negative PCR test, as well as be fully vaccinated for at least 14 days prior to sailing. For Greece, you're going to need that negative PCR test 3 days prior to arriving in Greece and be vaccinated at least for 14 days prior to sailing. And then once you get to the terminal, we're going to give you what we call an antigen test. That's the mouth swab test to make sure everybody's cleared. You'll go on a great Celebrity cruise, and then 1 to 2 days before you get off the ship, depending on your airfare schedule, we're going to give you another antigen test so you can have your negative test to re-enter the United States. If you are going in September on Michael's group, at that time, we might not need that. I don't know. I'm trying to prepare everybody for what it is today, as if you were going on one of the first sailings. By then we might not need the negative test to come back into the United States, or we might not need the negative PCR test to get into the Greece or St. Martin. But as of today, this is what the requirements are. So that's what I kind of want to prepare everybody for if they are planning the book. Get a lot of questions about shore excursions and face masks. We will be making the announcement about which ports of call we will allow guests to get off on their own, and then which ports of call that we will only allow guests to get off with our shore excursions. And the reason being is each port of call that we visit has different COVID protocols and regulations. If we're comfortable with what their regulations and protocols are, we're going to allow our guests to get off the ship and enjoy the ports like they would on any other sailing. Other areas where we might not be as comfortable with their protocols, we're not going to allow guests to get off. They will only be able to do that as part of a Celebrity shore excursion. So we will have that announcement coming up here in the next week or so, prior to the first sailing on Celebrity Millennium, which is June the 6th, just to let guests know, hey, on these ports, you will be able to go out and visit on your own. On other ports, you will not. As far as masks go, we're all going to be vaccinated. So we're only going to require a mask where you're going to be next to people that you're not traveling with. So when you're entering the restaurant, yes, please wear your mask. But when you sit down at the table, please take your mask off and enjoy it like you would any other time. When you're outdoors by the pool, we're not going to require you to wear a mask. When you're in the theater, we're going to be socially distanced. So we're going to require you to wear a mask. The one big question I get is from my gamblers on board. And yes, when you're in the casino and you are at the blackjack table, even though we're going to try to socially distance as much as possible, and we have the fiber or the plexiglass pavilions up between the guests, we are still going to require the face mask in the casino as of today. Now that might change as we go along, but as of today, we will require the mask in the casinos if you're sitting next to somebody at a table game. I know Las Vegas just lifted their protocols and they're not requiring masks anymore for vaccinated guests. For us, at this point, we are, but that could change prior to your sailing. And we're going to keep everybody up to date as we update our health and safety protocols. Cruising is going to be a lot different now, for the better, in my opinion. When you get on board, I know everybody loved the muster drill where we shut down all the bars and everybody had to go into that one room with everybody and hear the muster drill. We're no longer going to do that. We're now going to have guests be able to do that from their TV in their stateroom. Boarding procedure will be a little bit different. You're going to have an appointment time to report to the port. So not everybody will show up at the same time. You'll come at your designated time. So there will be no line waiting at all. You'll come in with your time that you're scheduled to be there. We'll give you your test. You'll get right on board. Your keys are going to be waiting for you at your stateroom. Just like if you've traveled with us on Celebrity Edge, we did that when we released Celebrity Edge, where you came in and you had a little barcode on your phone that you showed the port agent. They scanned it, they verified it was you, and you went right to your stateroom and the keys were there waiting for you. That's how it'll be on Apex and Celebrity Millennium. So a lot of things that we used to really not enjoy about cruising, we're changing because of the whole pandemic. And I really think it's going to enhance the cruise experience. And of course, we're going to have an offer for you. If you book any Celebrity cruise by June the 1st, which is 2 weeks from today, give or take, we're going to give you an additional $100 OBC in addition to either the always included pricing, which gives you the Wi-Fi, the beverage package, and the gratuities. You get that on top of that. Or if you do book Michael's Apex Greece sailing, you will receive an additional $200 onboard credit that he's also, I believe, going to match with the savings. But if you do book his Apex Greece sailing, I'm going to give you a $200 onboard credit. If you book any other sailing that we have open on any of the ships I talked about today or the rest of our fleet, because again, we are going to have some really good, exciting news coming very soon by the end of the week about the remainder of the fleet and when they'll return to service. And it will be this summer. So if you have an existing Celebrity cruise booked already for, say, July, August, September, October, November, please, if you're willing to go, we're going to go. So make your final payments and start packing, because those sailings are going to operate. And we still have our fingers crossed about late season Alaska. It did pass the Senate to get relief from the Jones Act. If it passes the House, then we will have some late season Alaska, because Canada will not allow cruise ships. I think they have to ban through spring of 2022. So that really killed our Alaska season because of the Jones Act. But we got relief, hopefully coming from the Congress. So hopefully for us, at least, Celebrity, we'll have some August Alaska going out of round trip Seattle on Celebrity Solstice. So if you did have an Alaska sailing booked in August on Solstice, there's still a good chance that that sailing is going to operate. So please, please, please stay tuned for this news coming up this week from Celebrity. I'll tell you what I'm going to do now. I'm going to quit sharing my screen, and then I'm going to turn it over to Michael and let him talk a little bit about the group that he's got going out on Celebrity Apex in September.
Well, thank you very much, Carl. That was great. I appreciate it. You always tell us what's going on and give us the inside scoop. And Carl's the man to know. His last name is Cruz, after all. So, yeah, I'm going to share my screen in just a second. I'm going to tell you about the specific sailing. First, I see a lot of questions about CDC and mask, and Carl covered a lot of those as well as he can. It's a changing environment, and it's been changing rapidly for the better. So if you are paying attention, or if you got on our email list, you would have saw that Friday for US sailings, the CDC made some changes for the better, I think. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with Greece or St. Martin. They have their own rules. And Celebrity and some other cruise lines were proactive and went out there and set up some sailings, and that's what we're going to take advantage of in our group, because we know that they're going to sail. If you look at a lot of cruises out of the U.S., at least here on the East Coast, they're based out of Florida. And when I'm talking to you guys, I'm not taking any political side or anything. I'm just talking about what it means to travel. I'm not talking about whether you have the right or not have the right to vaccinate. You certainly do. I'm just talking about what it means to your travel options. If that makes sense. So just for example, the CDC, which had been very, they've opened up a lot of things, but for cruise ships, they have not been opening up very much at all. So even when they would open it up for a concert or other places, they said, nope, you got to wear your mask all the time. Didn't matter if you're vaccinated on a cruise ship. Well, Friday, they said, no, that's not true. If you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask unless you, and it's up to the cruise line's discretion. But if you're where you can socially distance, or you're in an eating and drinking environment, or you're by the pool and you're outside, you don't have to wear a mask if you're vaccinated. Then they said they require testing for everybody to get on the ship to get a negative test. But now they said, wait a minute, if you have a vaccine, you can skip the line. So those are sort of benefits for getting a vaccine. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, or everybody has the right to make that choice, but I think they're opening it up to maybe encourage people. I don't know what, exactly what their reasons are, but I'm vaccinated. I'm looking forward to cruising and doing so in a way where I don't have to wear a mask, and I don't have to take a lot of tests, and I don't have to worry that the cruise is going to be turned around because there's too many positive cases. We watch Royal Caribbean, parent company of Celebrity, and they've been operating on a no test cruise out of Singapore since last summer, and had 100,000 people sail on something like 12 cases of COVID. And those cases have been isolated. The other people didn't have to quarantine. They did their normal cruise. And so they're learning ways to deal with it. Right. And so that's better for us.
The big thing is this with the CDC out of the United States is they're saying that for the ship to sail, it has to be 95% vaccinated. That's big for us because we don't get a lot of children on board. That means, the other 5% would be for people that wouldn't be eligible for the vaccine. It's a bigger challenge for Royal Caribbean, our parent company, because they have a lot of children on board. So when you say that 95% of the cruise is vaccinated, and a third of their guests are usually children that are able to get the vaccine, it's a tougher obstacle for them to overcome than it is for us. We are going to test people either way, whether the CDC requires it or not at the port, just because we want to take all the proper precautions, just to make sure everybody has a wonderful experience. I saw some questions about the Greece cruise. We are requiring the negative PCR test to get into Greece. And up until August 1st, Greece is requiring that. Post August 1st, Greece is no longer requiring that negative PCR test if you're vaccinated. We may not require it either after that. But up until August 1st, we will require the negative PCR test in addition to the vaccination. And like I said, we're just trying to be as safe as possible, because even though maybe the port we're going out to doesn't require that, some of the ports that we visit may require that. So we're always going to take the extra precaution. And to Michael's point, Vegas has been open, these hotels, all-inclusive resorts have been open, and none of them are taking these many steps ahead of time to make sure everything goes smoothly. And we want to make sure that cruising starts up this summer and it continues on, that we don't have a start and a stop and a start and a stop. So we're going to take every precaution that we can. But to abide by the CDC guidelines, we have to have 95% of the ship vaccinated. So we will require everybody over the age of 18 to be vaccinated on board Celebrity and Royal Caribbean right now. And that might change after October 30th once this conditional sail order expires. We're just really abiding by these rules and regulations up until October 31st of this year. And that's when that conditional sail order expires, where we can do the longer cruises in 7 nights and we can sell out the ships more than 50% occupancy. So yeah, today, this is what the environment is. But to Michael's point, by the time his Greece cruise goes, hopefully a lot of things will be changed. What I don't see changing, though, is the requirement of vaccination by the CDC for us to sail out of U.S. ports. Greece might change it, St. Martin might change it, Europe might change it. But out of the United States, I think through the end of this year at least, they will require us to be vaccinated.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great questions in here. We're going to try to go over them one by one at the very end. But I just want to say, we can tell you what the situation is today, and we can only guess at tomorrow. And anybody telling you what's going to happen in 6 months, they don't really know. I mean, nobody knows. We just doing our best and we want to tell you the worst case scenario. Now, like when you're testing everybody that comes in, that'll be an antigen test.
That's correct.
So that's a mouth swab, right? That's not nearly as invasive or time consuming as some of the the
And if
test
you do
people may have
test,
been
if
used
you do
to.
have a test positive, we are going to isolate you and then retest you to make sure it's not a false positive. But that's another reason why we're not selling a lot of inside and ocean views on this sailing. So if we do have to quarantine people, we absolutely can in a great environment. When you check in, you are going to get a wristband, sort of like what Disney has now. And it's a contact tracing wristband, and it's just for everybody's safety. So if someone does test positive on the ship, we know who they came in contact with. So there's just a lot of different things on board that will enhance the cruise experience, but it's still going to be a normal cruise. Everything's going to be open and operational. There's nothing that's going to be closed down. Like some of the resorts aren't open, there are discos. Our discos will still be open. Everything's still going to be open on board. We're just going to have less guests.
4 or 5, 6 months from now, we might not even talking about masks or tests or any, we don't know, but I mean, it's all moving in the right direction. And as other countries start getting vaccines and, I think it's for the better. There's obviously people that can't get vaccinated, and I think there's going to be exceptions and ways to do that. The governor of Florida, the Florida has passed a law that he signed says you can't ask people. And so I get a lot of questions. Well, how are they going to know if you're vaccinated or not? And I think the best answer is probably you've got a CDC, a federal guideline that's telling the cruise ships, hey, you need to be at this level of vaccination, but you have a state law that says you can't ask. All the cruise lines are going to probably do is go to a federal judge that's in Florida and ask for an injunction. And all he has to do is say, I'm reviewing this for 3 months. It's a temporary injunction to block this untested Florida law, and they can move on. Now, I don't know that, but that's a good guess about, if I owned a cruise line, they might do.
That's one of the reasons why we haven't announced our return to service already. We're ready to go. It's just that's really causing a challenge for us, because how do we comply with the ship being 95% vaccinated if we're not allowed to ask if they're vaccinated? So we hope to come to common grounds on that. But to Michael's point, I'm almost positive that's probably what's going to happen.
Just tell Richard Fain I thought of it first. All right,
yeah,
Carl?
Yeah, I heard it here first.
You heard it here first. All right, I'm going to share my screen real quick. We're gonna talk a little bit about our group. I see some people here that are in that group, and give me 1 second to share this. All right. I see some people that are in the group, and you're asking great questions, and we're going to have to, the end of this month is really when we have to book into the group, and we'll know how many people we have, right? So for me to host it, it's going to be, it needs to be 10 cabins plus mine at least. Obviously we'd like more. We have room on our tour for more, and I'm going to tell you about that tour in a second. And we hope to have a great cruise. Obviously, Israel has, of course, with first COVID and now Israel, right? And we have an Israel itinerary. My plan is to go to Israel, and we have to book the cruise by the end of May. And we're not going to know the status of Israel in September by the end of May. So what I'm going to tell the folks that are already booked or thinking about booking is our idea is to go to Israel, but if it's not safe, then Celebrity is going to change the itinerary. We'll probably get a Cyprus and some of those roads and some of those other itineraries. So book with the flexibility of knowing it is possible that you wouldn't be able to go. I think that it'll be resolved at the rate it's going. I think it'll be resolved in a few weeks. Look, Israel and Palestine have a long history. Each thinks the other, especially there on the West Bank, are occupiers that don't belong there. They think that about the other. And it's a really tough situation, and without being political about it, it's just been an age-old conflict, and it kind of flares up sometimes and then it goes back down. I expect that to happen now, and I expect to go on this cruise and go to Jerusalem and all the places I'm going to talk about, but just have the flexibility and knowing we might go to Cyprus and the Greek islands. Wow, that's terrible. We'll still go to Athens and do that tour and everything like that. Okay, so let's get going. So we want to finish out here pretty quick. I'm reading Steve Kinney's remarks. We'll have to go over these.
I agree with Steve.
Okay, so I'm Michael Graham at MGA Travel. It's Michael Graham and Associates Travel Investment Advisors, but we can't change the screen like you normally do. So we call it MGA Travel for short. We're located in Myrtle Beach for our main office. You please come by and see us. Everybody that works here is fully vaccinated, so we don't require masks if you are. So, come by, please make an appointment. We do ask. This is my team. Missing Kristen, she's not pictured in this photo from the Cruise and Travel Expo, but I have a team of experts. We love to travel ourselves. We love booking travel for our clients. We really work with groups. We've won a lot of awards we're proud of. We'd like to share that with you. We really specialize in groups as large as 300, 400, 500 people. On the left there you see on a cruise. And when we do that, you'll see in that bottom middle picture, there's me and Troy and Elise, and we'll have a full host of escorts to take care of that group, to be there. You don't ever have to go to the guest services desk. You just see one of us. We take care of everything. That's me in the middle, being a tour manager. And we do all kinds of groups, and this one we're going to talk about today is no exception. We're very good at it, and we believe in this idea of shared experiences and coming back and making friends and having a good time. This is the Outlander Society. This is one of my favorite travel clubs that we do. And technically this group is part of the Outlander Society. So if you go on it, you will have an opportunity to be a member. It's not hard to be a member. You just have to follow 2 rules. Number 1, no grumpy travelers. And number 2, no talking about politics while you're on our trip. You can talk about politics all the rest of the time that you want to, but not on our trip. You can do that after a trip. This Outlanders trip, for example, you will be an Outlander. That's me and my wife, Kelly, in Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. That was our 7th continent. I show this picture not to brag or that I'm counting, the 74 countries that I've been to. Okay, I was counting there, but what I'm really trying to do is share with you that we are experienced travelers. We've probably been there, and if we haven't, one of our other agents has, and we can, talk to you intimately about what to expect. It's not like you have to look at ratings on TripAdvisor. So what is this trip? We're going to leave September 8th from the United States to land in Athens on September 9th. And somebody asked this, the cruise starts September the 11th. So if we time everything just right, and they are still requiring tests, what we already know that Greece is not. So I kind of expect Celebrity will get in line with that, but just they can't say that right now. But even if they do, let's say you have to have a test, you can time it right, because we only have 2 nights. The 3rd night we get on the ship, the 3rd day we get on the ship, and that could fall within that window. So when you add the 7-night cruise to our 2 nights there in Athens, it's a 9-night, 10-day trip, cruise tour, I call it. And we'll be going to Athens and hopefully Jerusalem and definitely the Greek Isles as well. Then, of course, we'll be sailing on the Apex, the beautiful ship that Carl's been talking about. The Greek Isles will definitely be in there. We're including premium drinks, not just a classic beverage package. We'll have Wi-Fi and tips, plus the 2-night pre-cruise vacation at a 5-star hotel, the Grand Bretagne. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. And I'm going to go over some of the inclusions, but for time, I'm going to move forward a little bit. All of this is on our website, mgatravel.com, or if you go to mgatravel.com/Athens, you can go straight to it. I just added a link on that page that Bill Crosby, I see him, he's on today. He sent me a great magazine article about why you want to visit Jerusalem. And I put a link on there so you can read that article. I highly suggest it. This is the Grand Bretagne. It used to be a palace. If you look up at the top, you can see the flag of Greece, but then to the left of that, you'll see some brown spots, and those are actually, they're blocking the sun, and it's an outdoor restaurant up there, and it's beautiful. And the view from that, I'm going to show you in a second. This is us in the lobby. We set up a little welcome table and a hospitality table. That's my lovely wife, Kelly, there. We help make sure everybody gets their room and gets what they need. And then go up on the rooftop bar. This is the view. That is the Acropolis. The Acropolis there, and the Parthenon on top, lit up at night. It's spectacular. It's actually breathtaking to be looking at ancient historical icons like this while you're sitting having dinner or having a glass of wine. Even you get up the next morning for your included breakfast, there it is, right out your window, right out. Well, it was out my window, but also right in the fresh air, looking right across from the restaurant. So also included, we're including tours of the Acropolis. So we're going to go there as a private group. We're going to go up to the Acropolis and up to the Parthenon, and we will be there in person. We will have guides, knowledgeable guides, in addition to us. I'll be telling you about the footwear you need to wear up there because it can be slippery. You get very close up and personal. It's amazing to see. It's amazing how they constructed things like this, thousands of years ago. And then included in the tour, then we're then going to go over to the Acropolis Museum, which is built to exact scale. This is our little group that I took before. So if you look behind, you can see there's the Acropolis with the Parthenon right on top. But inside the comfort of air conditioning, they have some of the original pieces that they don't want to leave out in the open air or where someone might take them or damage them. So you get the chance to come up close and personal and see some of these original pieces that are amazing. And we'll have, again, our own tour guide telling us all of the history. That night, we will have an included dinner at one of our favorite restaurants that's just walking distance from the hotel. The guy right in the center there, Rob, I'm actually going to go have dinner with him Saturday night. He said this was the favorite part of his whole trip. This was before he had gone anywhere. So we'll have a great time, and we know all the right spots. So then we'll sleep for our second night at Grand Bretagne. We'll get up that morning. We'll get on our private motor coach, and we'll make the ride down to Piraeus, which is where all the ships dock. And we'll meet up with the Apex that we've heard all about. Again, on this cruise, and just for entry into Greece at this time, you're going to need to be vaccinated. So keep that in mind. I can't tell you what the US requirements may be in September, but I can tell you what the Greece requirements are at this time. So there we are in Piraeus. There's Rob's wife, Betsy, on the ship. And this just shows a map of our anticipated voyage, where we would leave from here. We would go to Ashdod, which is where you access Jerusalem, and Haifa, which is where we access Nazareth and Galilee. And then over here, this is the island of Crete. This is the very largest of all of the Greek isles. And then over to Mykonos. And then finally, on the seventh night, we'll head back to Athens to get off that morning. And then what will happen? During this cruise, we are including Jerusalem and Bethlehem small group tour in the prices, as well as the Athens, everything you saw in Athens and the cruise taxes and everything like that. And then we're going to include a tour of Nazareth and Galilee in the footsteps of Jesus. And then again, at the Greek Isles, they're always beautiful and each so different from the next. A lot of character and fun. Again, when we're on board, all of our drinks, Wi-Fi, tips always included. And then we have the motor coach back from the ship straight to the airport for our flight home that day. And these are the prices. When we talk about the air prices, Celebrity does have locked in contract air, and we have locked in contract air in business class and premium economy and economy, all with Flights by Celebrity. They've been very good. We are not flying in the day the cruise leaves, so we don't have the ultimate best pricing that Carl was just listing, but we do have good pricing. I noted some folks that booked like from Denver. Some of the larger gateways do have better pricing than if you're leaving from Myrtle Beach or Charleston, but that's, we just don't have a giant airport, and that can be a mixed blessing, right? So last time we did this, we only had Aqua Class and Sky Suite, and we only had double occupancy, and I've had several requests for triples, and you cannot have a triple in Aqua Class on any Celebrity ship that I'm aware of. So what we are going to do is we offer the double and the Aqua Class veranda. That's what I'm booked in, and it comes with its own dining room blue, which I love that dining room. I think Carl's had the best steak ever there. But if you want to have a triple, or you just want to save a little bit of money, you can stay in a concierge. It's this exact same amount of room and style of stateroom as an Aqua Class, but it doesn't have access to Blue. And likewise, if you stay in the Sky Suite Veranda, you get the Luminae restaurant, and then you have the retreat, and the other classes don't have access to that. So as you can see, it's priced accordingly. Of course, the suites also have more room. You can't go wrong with any of those three. I will say that the suite prices are not guaranteed to be that price, and all these prices end May the 30th, or at least I don't guarantee them past May the 30th. That's when we have the next stop sale in our group, from our groups department. But anyway, this again is on the webpage. I'll show you at the end. These prices are per person based on double occupancy, and these prices are per person based on triple occupancy. These prices do include insurance, so you wouldn't need any additional insurance, but if you book by May 31st, you do get that additional COVID-19 coverage that Carl mentioned. It includes your transfers, your pre-cruise tours, your dinner, the 5-star hotel. It includes taxes and fees. There's literally not a whole lot that you're going to have to pay for out of pocket once you do this. You can find all that at mgatravel.com/Athens. Or of course, just call me 843-279-0310. And you can email me at michael@mgatravel.com. And if I don't know the answer, I'll reach out to Mr. Cruz and he will know the answer. So I'm going to leave that on the price screen, and that's usually where people have a lot of answers for a second. And then let's.
I've been scrolling through the questions and I found a couple that we didn't address.
Okay, go ahead.
The first one I saw is the crew will be 100% vaccinated. So we won't have to worry about that. Let's see, I saw another one here. When will the 9 ships all be revolutionized? We have 4 revolutionized right now. Celebrity Constellation was slated to go in May of 2020. It's already been paid for, so she'll be the next one. It'll be rescheduled hopefully later this year. And then the other 3 will be in 2022 and 2023. The CDC mask, we went over that, but yeah, we will only require it in tight quarters. So like the casino, for instance, but everywhere else, we really don't anticipate anyone having to wear a mask. CDC is not requiring tests for fully vaccinated. Right, so we're gonna test everybody when they get off the ship either way, just because we wanna feel better about it. And we wanna be able to report back because we wanna just keep the data right. So even though we don't need a negative test to get off the ship, we're going to test everybody when they get off the ship, as well as when they get on the ship, no matter what port you're coming out of, and no matter whether the airlines are requiring it or not. The airlines will still require the negative test to get back home currently, so we will be testing everybody when they get off the ship on the Greece cruise or anything that's not in the United States. Let's see.
I think you got it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Based on the tour you're offering, we need to get the COVID test. Yeah, everybody's going to have the negative test. And the reason why we're doing that is not everybody on the ship is going to be vaccinated. So the 95% of this, we will have 5% open. We might not use that 5% because we don't attract a lot of the children, but in some cases we will. So everybody will get the test when they get on and when they get off.
And again, that's the antigen test. Is that right?
Right.
So
just a mouth swab.
Mouth swab.
Right. And then the CDC is allowing back-to-back sailings. That is correct, but they don't allow any sailing at one time longer than 7 nights. So yes, there is availability to go back-to-back, and in turn, you will be going for longer than 7 nights, but we do have to have everybody disembark, re-get tested, and then re-embark. So if you do a back-to-back, I know previously we could keep you in your same stateroom and you didn't have to get off the ship or none of that. But if you are doing a back-to-back, for one, you will have to be a vaccinated guest. So if you're traveling with a family member that's less than 18 years old, they will not be able to do a back-to-back. But yes, absolutely, we are allowing back-to-back travelers. And then my favorite one is from Steve. Tell everyone to quit worrying, get ready physically and mentally to have a good time. I love that one. And then one about having cruised a while. Every cabin that we're offering on these sailings are veranda and higher, so they're all going to be great cabins. I really do like the Aqua Class because it comes with Blue, and it is my favorite restaurant at sea. I'm here to tell you. And then on board Celebrity Apex, the best venue, obviously, and I'll let Michael attest to this as well, is the Martini Bar. I can always find him there. It's right there in the Grand Foyer. We've had great times there, him and I. And it is the focal point of the ship. There's a lot of restaurants and shopping right around that, but the Grand Plaza right there where the Martini Bar is the most happening place on the ship. And it's a really good evening no matter what's going on.
Yeah, Lou points out Aqua Class also includes access to the spa with that, which that's true, and that's a nice little
Right.
feature. Not the spa services like a pedicure or a massage or anything, but you get to go in the spa and use some of those services without paying that fee, right?
Yeah, it's like we call it the Persian Garden Relaxation. They might have changed the name of it now, but it used to be called the Persian Garden Relaxation Room. But it is an area that you will have exclusive access to. Absolutely.
And I'd say the best cabin of all is the one you're in right there, is the Iconic Suite, right?
And I only get to show this cabin. I never get to sleep in it.
Cheryl had asked if the airlines will require COVID testing. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I just would assume yes, and if we don't have to, then count that as gravy, you know.
Yeah.
And one other person asked when we will get our let's see. Do you know when you'll have enough travelers to make the group cruise work? Or you and Kelly join us? So we will know by the end of May, because that is when I have to stop booking. So if we don't have a total of 10 cabins, which we're well on our way, then I will let you know that I wouldn't be going. And so you have time to make a decision on that. But I plan on going. I don't see any reason why we won't. This is a great cruise. That's a great value. There's tons of inclusions, and I love guiding these trips. I do them all the time. So it's just got to be a good business decision for Michael. And that just takes 10 cabins, and we're already at 5 or 6. I'll have to look. So it's not many more, and we'll know. We've got basically a week and 3 days. But I will say I'm going to Portland, Maine, and going to on May 27th for a couple days to check out Maine and see what's going on up there. Because Michael hadn't had a vacation since, I don't know, how many years ago did COVID start?
Right.
Like 20 years ago or something. Okay, let's see. Michael, are you and Kelly going if the total group is not filled? You could still go if all not filled. Cheryl, yes, Cheryl, if you pay for my cabin, definitely. But I will let everybody in the group know. The only thing, like I said before, is we'll know if we have enough cabins. Okay, we're going to know that in a week, pretty much. And I feel like we are. And then you can make that decision, number one. But when you make that decision, I want you to take into consideration the fact that if it's still not safe by the time September rolls around to go to Israel, I don't want to go to Israel, you know, and I'm celebrities not either. So we're going to go to these other great islands and places. So be flexible on that part, and we will still have all of our Athens tours, and we'll shift whatever included short excursions we had in Israel over to where we'll go instead. Like I said, I think it's a long shot that we wouldn't go.
Yeah, and we'll make an announcement. And when you see it, don't stress, because what we're going to do is we're going to change the first couple sailings, because we're going, obviously the first sailing is June 19th out of Athens. So that sailing, I can guarantee you, is not going to Israel. So we're going to probably alter the first, I would say, 4 to 6 weeks to start with of sailings, just to see what happens. And then to Michael's point, by the time September comes around, hopefully things will be better, and we'll just continue our normal itinerary. Also, we're going to make a huge announcement this week about a return to service in the U.S., but keep in mind those guidelines and protocols we come out with are only applied to the U.S. But things are getting better everywhere. Greece just came out yesterday and said, you know, starting August 1st, they don't need the negative PCR test. They just need proof of vaccination. So more than likely, we'll make that change as well. They also came back and said, which can be positive or negative, depending on how you look at it, that starting August 1st, everybody 12 years and older must be vaccinated. Whereas previously, they didn't. If you were less than 18 years old, you didn't have to be vaccinated. But after August 1st, if you're 12 years and older to get into Greece, you now have to be vaccinated. So to Michael's point, everything's changing for the positive every day. And we're really looking forward to getting back to service. And I know this is going to be a great cruise. And you guys are going to get to see Apex before I will, because I won't see her until she gets back into the U.S. in October.
We'll send you pictures, Carl.
I'm sure, from the Martini Bar, I know.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Cheryl, it's Surf Wi-Fi. I don't see any other questions, but if you do have them, just email us, michael@mgatravel.com, call 843-279-0310. John Gilstrap says you start in June. Carl, when do you end?
It's right at October. We'll be in Greece, and then Apex will come over in October, start doing her Caribbean season. Same thing with Millennium. It is going to be June through August, and then Millennium's going to come over and do a Caribbean season. The rest of the ships are already open for sale, and they're doing their exact itineraries. So I tell everybody, book with confidence July 4th and beyond, because I really feel confident everything is going to sell. Alaska, I'm about 85–90% sure in August that we're going to have some Alaska on solstice. So if you're interested in that, book that with confidence. But everything, July and beyond is going to operate. So everybody, if you've got something booked, make the final payments, and we hope to see you on board soon.
That's right. Mayor, thank you for that last question. And everybody says they're looking forward to the cruise tour. I am too. I'll see you guys around. Thanks for joining us today. All of our clients, our passengers in our group, and some new faces. We're glad you're here. Carl, thank you so much for joining us again. You always do such a wonderful job for us.
Absolutely. And when we get the stuff back about the U.S., I'll come on and we'll do another one and talk about that.
And one day we're going to do a live presentation. Maybe
Absolutely.
This
summer. And I love those because usually I get lunch and drinks afterwards.
That's right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.